He's finished here at Grosvenor Vale, Wealdstone 1, Altrincham 1, and with Phil Parkinson. Phil, I think you and I spoke after a game here a couple of seasons ago, a 0-0 draw that came after a difficult run of results, and that proved to be a bit of a turning point in that season, and I guess the hope is that the same is going to be true of the draw we've got here today.
Yeah, I hope so. The amount of times I've spoke to you, Laurence, and I feel we've performed really well and I haven't got what we've deserved. I felt we put in a really solid shift today against the progressive, much improved Wealdstone team, who look like the full time now with the daytime training, etc. And they look a real good unit. So to come here when we haven't been getting the results, things haven't been going for us, you are looking at it thinking, are we going to have enough confidence in the group as a football club to come and get a result? And I think the lads answered them questions there with a real strong performance.
It was, though, a difficult start to the game. The early goal, it was a little bit of a freak element. I don't know whether the wind played a part in it, but it was a difficult start. And I guess, if anything, to get something out of what was a very difficult first 15 minutes, maybe that we were really tested in that opening part of the game.
Yeah, we were, and I think these are the fine margins that I constantly speak to the football club about, the players. We'd love to do every London trip as an overnight stay, and when you're on the coach from 8 o'clock in the morning and you arrive here at the time we do to get ready 1:30, it's a long time, and these are the bits where they probably have been caught cold getting off the bus. Even though we've warmed up, it is a very long trip. I challenge anyone to say that lads are supposed to play to their optimum after that amount of time on a coach. But listen, we are where we are with it. We do it every time when we come here. And I feel that was a contributing factor. It shouldn't be, but it looks that way, because after that I thought the lads were rock solid on the defensive duties after that.
And we definitely grew into the game as it went along. And just a word then about your debutant Jack Hinchy. He I thought exemplified that thing of growing into the game, and he looks like he's going to be a good addition for us.
Yeah, he is. I thought he was a little bit loose at the start, but he was under a lot of pressure. As I said, they're a good team, and they put him under pressure, and he didn't retain the ball well enough at times, but then he found his feet, and you could see the quality of him, and not just the quality of his feet, the resilience, because some lads go under when they're put under a bit of pressure, and he didn't. He kept getting on the ball and getting us playing, and I'll be honest with you, I was tempted to keep him on because he was getting better, but obviously he's not played loads of football. That's why we're able to get him on loan, and I think you'll see that he'll get better each week he plays.
And if conceding an early goal wasn't ideal, obviously getting that goal before half time was great, and great to get James Gale on the score sheet. And Jimmy Knowles hitting the target was a big part of it, of course. Yeah,
a bit of composure from Tom Crawford to start with, because he could have took an early shot on, and he didn't. He found Jimmy, and Jimmy's the one we really want taking on them shots. He got his shot away, forced the keeper into a save, and James got a richly deserved goal. He was desperately unlucky in the last game that he didn't get a couple, and he was Johnny on the spot today, and he's come off with a big thick lip. He looks battered and bruised, and that's what he's probably going to need to be like in most games, because he's a big physical presence. He's got to be in contact. I mean, I'm not quite sure what happened over the far side. It didn't look great where he's been thrown into the sideboards. And again, that's frustrating. I feel like we've picked up some cheap yellows again, where their lads have committed stuff like that. Sam Barnes has got studs on his ribs, not even talking to from the referee. We come into a contact, Isaac Marriott in the mid-third, and he gets a yellow card. It's really frustrating at the moment. We're picking up yellows for next to nothing, and teams are getting away with blue murder at times. But that's where we are. That's probably why we're sitting where we are in the division, because when things don't go for you, they don't. But hopefully the lads have turned the corner, like you said. I thought the game plan as well, they executed. I hope people could see that we tried something different today in terms of the shape and personnel. And maybe we need to look at that away from home a little bit more. But we have a way of playing. We didn't deviate away from that. The press wasn't quite on point in the first half. But then we corrected that at half time, and they were much more efficient at it, and got, as I said, we could have scored another one if James can just get his pass away to Jimmy, where we pressed brilliantly, won the ball almost in their 6-yard box, and all it is a square pass, and we win that game. Well, I know they'll be frustrated with the one they missed right at the death, but it doesn't get much better than that in terms of working on a way of pressing, winning the ball, and then we just got to execute that last bit. But again, that probably sums up where we are at the moment.
Yeah, we certainly won the ball high up quite a lot, but maybe didn't make the most of it. And it felt like in that second half that, I don't know, both sides the game sort of deteriorated a little bit, certainly in terms of one side dominating the other. And in the end, was it a question, do you think, of both sides maybe sort of settling for a point, or did you feel that we might snatch it at the end there?
Yeah, I did actually. I thought the lads were still a little bit maybe too adventurous for me, because I felt a point would have been what we wanted to get from this game, just because of how the results have gone and how they're doing at the moment. You've seen two really heavily possession-based teams sort of tugging and throwing to try and gain that dominance of the ball. You've seen two teams who create a lot of chances. Their XG is very high, like ours. So it was always going to be a game of who could retain the ball the best, who could press the best, and who could execute the chances. And probably, like I said, a draw was a fair result on the run of play.
And it gives us something to hold on to going into an enormous game in a week's time. The FA Cup, we all know that it's not gone for us in the FA Cup in recent years, but and we all know it's going to be a difficult game against Harbour Town. But in the context of this season, and the FA Cup always huge, but it feels particularly that that's going to be a massive game.
Yeah, well, the big games for us every year, with Altrincham being what they are and having the history they have in that competition. I think we've had one really good run where we got to Portsmouth in the second round, and we've not really been able to match that since. And like I said, I've been here for almost a decade, and that's one of the most frustrating parts. We've been desperately unlucky with the draws, and I think Harbour pose a really difficult test for us. They look built for a cup upset. I've already done a little bit of research on them, had a look at them. They've got some really good, experienced players who are effective at how they play. Very reminiscent of Tamworth of old in terms of, well, probably still Tamworth at present, but more so when they were coming through the divisions, a few of their old players. So we'll really have a good look at them. But the big thing for us is we're at home, and we've got to be confident going into the game after a run of good performances. Getting that result there, if we can get a positive result at home at Harbour, maybe our season gets up and running then.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.